Good afternoon and welcome to this Excel learning video. So, I know you've used the sum function thousands of times while working in Excel. And you know what it does, it adds up a range of cells and gives you an answer. I also know that probably what happens when you're using the sum function is the range that you're adding up changes. You need to include more cells in your total. And when that's the case, you are simply modifying the sum function each and every time. Well, you don't have to anymore because this video is going to show you the introduction of using the sum plus the offset function that will eliminate the need to have to keep modifying the cell range. Now, what comes to mind is you can use this not just for tracking these work days that I have here up on the screen. I'm also reminded maybe you need to keep track of the number of reporting periods in your spreadsheets. Or how about a rolling performance where you're rolling up a series of numbers over a course of time or products or people, and you just want to continually have that expand. Again, the sum plus offset function will be able to do that for us. And let's dive in and see how it works. So I'm going to read this like a story. Excel is following directions one piece at a time. So I typed in the sum function first. That's the outer function. And what that does is it tells Excel, add up all the numbers in the range that I'm about to describe, which I'm sure you already know. In other words, everything inside of the parenthesis will define what range to actually sum. So there we go. I typed in the cell range E11 because that's the first cell that I would like to have included in the range that I'm going to use. That's why I typed in E11. Now I follow it with the nested function offset, which tells Excel that this part defines the range that sum is going to add. It starts at E11 and ends at whatever offset returns, which is what I'm going to put in right now. So let's break down the offset piece. So the offset function here that I'm going to use is only going to be using the first 3 of 5 arguments that is allowed. I only need the first 3. The first argument is the actual starting cell, which again, I need E11. Think of it like saying begin right at cell E11. And that's where Excel will start counting from there. The second argument is rows or blanks between the commas, because notice the 2 commas right after the E11. That empty space between the commas means don't move up or down. Stay in the same row. And rows is equal to 0 by default, so I don't have to put it in. The next argument is for the columns, and this tells Excel how many columns to move to the right or left. So up there on row 3, I have a 5. So if E3 equals 5, that means Excel will move 4 columns to the right because 5 minus 1 equals 4. Hence the reason why we use the offset function. Now, there's the rest of my formula, as I just mentioned. I'm taking E3 and I subtract 1. And again, that means separates rows from the columns. Now move sideways by, in this case, whatever's in E3 minus 1. And remember, I'm beginning in E11. Now simply what I need to do is I need to pair up the closing parentheses. I will need 2 of them. And when I press enter, what's going to happen is it's going to add up the profit for days 1 through 5 right here. The answer says 7,010. Well, let's see. I highlight the range. There it is. It says 7,010. It worked. Now, I just go right up here to E3 and Right now, I'm only interested in profit for the first 2 days. So I changed the 5 to a 2. When I press enter, the answer is 37.25. There you go, 37.25. Isn't that a great feature? So yeah, that's how you would use the sum and the offset function to instantly calculate total profit that's based on dynamic workdays. And you can see it's perfect for tracking any kind of business performance, maybe salary calculations, production reports, and any kind of scenario that you can think of where your totals must automatically adjust as your data grows. All right, thanks for watching. And as usual, you can find me for any kind of Microsoft Office questions. I'll even throw in Copilot. I'll throw in Copilot inside the apps as well as becoming a prompt engineer expert in Copilot. Here I am, Tom Sven at ptd.net. And my hourly rates are very reasonable. Thank you all. Have a great day.